Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Total Body Strength. Today, so in terms of equipment, we need at least one set of dumbbells. If you have two, great. If not, no problem. Some movements we might want a little lighter weight than other movements. But we're going to do 3 rounds of our workout. We're going to do 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest / transition time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started real quick with our demos, and then we'll go ahead and warm up and get right into the circuit. So we're going to start off here. We're going to do some bent over rows. So we do need 2 dumbbells for this. I'm going to take these ones. And what we're going to do, we're going to have our feet hip width apart. We're going to squeeze our shoulder blades like we're pinching an orange, push the hips back. And then from here, our hands are staying outside of our legs, squeezing through our armpits, driving our elbows up, and then coming back down. So we're drive the elbows up and back down. So if we act like we have a plane of glass, we're going to break the glass with the elbow. So that is our first movement. And then second movement here, we're going to do some around the world raises. So this one, we do want a lighter set of dumbbells for. So that's where that will come in handy. If you only have one set, no problem. You can do these body weight as well. We're going to start with our palms facing forward, hands outside of the legs. And we're going to bring our arms all the way up overhead and coming back down. So we really want to keep our hands outside of our legs, coming all the way up and then all the way back down. So we're going to feel that in the front and in the back of the shoulder. So that is our second movement. And then we're going to move on to lower body here. So first thing we're going to start off with is alternating reverse lunges. We're going to start at the top of our space. And these we can either do body weight or with dumbbells, whatever feels good for you today. We're going to step back with one foot, keeping that chest forward, drive through that front heel, and then alternate to the other side. So knees going past the second toe, chest over the arch of the front foot. So that is going to be the reverse lunges. And then we're going to do more lunges. So we're going to do curtsy lunges after that. So we're going to go ahead, very similar, except for instead of going directly behind, we're going back diagonal across. Hips are going to face forward, coming down, and then to the other side. So then still keeping that same chest forward, drive through that front heel. So we want to feel that in the front glutes there. And then we're going to go ahead and lay on the ground for the last 2 movements. So move the first one on the ground we're going to do some glute bridge marches. So we're going to have our feet hip width apart, tuck the pelvis, push those hips up towards the ceiling, driving through the heels, one knee at a time. We're going to exhale, drive up and back down, using the core, alternating here, one leg at a time. And then finally, we're going to do some toe touches to work a little bit more on the core. So you can either do this non-weighted, 1 dumbbell, 2 dumbbells, a heavier dumbbell, a kettlebell, whatever you have, feel free to use it. And legs are going to be straight up in the air, hands in the air. We're going to exhale, bring the hands towards the toes and back down. So use the core coming up and then right back down. So that is going to be our full circuit for today. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our warm up. So we can go ahead and come to the top of our space. And we're going to start off with the world's greatest stretch. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to interlace our fingers. We're going to grab onto our right knee, pull the right knee towards the chest. We're going to take a nice big deep belly breath. And we're going to exhale, step that leg back into our reverse lunge. Back leg stays nice and straight, hands coming down inside of our front foot. Keeping that back leg nice and straight. We're going to take a nice big deep breath. And we're going to exhale, opening up towards the front leg, getting that rotation in. It's going to be really good for our back exercises today. Gazing past our thumb. And on our next exhale, we're going to go ahead, plant the hand outside of our front foot. Push our hips up into a nice hamstring stretch. We can scoot that back leg a little closer. We're going to take a big deep breath. And we're going to exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So interlace the fingers, grab onto the left knee, pull the left knee towards the chest. Nice, big deep belly breath. And we're exhaling, stepping back, reverse lunge. Hands on the inside of our front foot. Keeping that back leg nice and straight. We're gonna take a nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, opening up towards the front leg, gazing past our thumb, getting that rotation in through the neck and spine. Nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, plant the hand outside of our front foot, push our hips up into that nice hamstring stretch. We're gonna take a nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, bring your feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right, last part here of our warm-up. We're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of plank to pike here. So we're gonna get our upper back more warmed up, as well as our hamstrings and our calves a little bit more. So you can either just go ahead and go straight to the hands and knees, and then up to the hands and toes here. And keeping that core nice and tight, we're gonna go ahead and exhale, push our hips up towards the ceiling. You can even start to pedal those heels, get that nice calf stretch going. It's gonna be really good to open up the back of the legs for all of our lunges today. And we're gonna go ahead and come back down. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 more, pushing up into the pike or down dog position and back down. And last one, push those hips up. And we can go ahead and walk our hands towards our feet. Get a little bit of an extra stretch here, and then we can go ahead and return to our standing position here. We are ready to rock and roll. So we are starting off, like I said, we're doing 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest / transition time. We're starting with bent over rows, and I'm going to get the timer going here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So we got our dumbbells here, and feet are hip width apart. We're pushing our hips back like we're closing the door, keeping that core engaged. We're pulling our hands towards the butt. So the hand is coming out here versus up here. That's going to be more of the traps. We really want to feel this in our lat muscles. So back here. So if you act like you have a piece of paper that you're trying to keep really close to your body, don't let that paper fall. That's how we want that to feel in the backs of the armpits. So we're driving our elbows up, breaking that plane of glass that's sitting on our back. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up we have around the world raises. I'm gonna grab my lighter dumbbells here, starting with our palms facing out. 3, 2, 1. So palms are out, going all the way up, over and across, keeping that core zipped up, making sure that we're staying nice and tall here. We want to keep as little movement in our body as we can. Hands are slightly in front, really making sure we're getting the right angle there. If we go straight out to the side, we're going to put pressure on our shoulder joints. If going past parallel is not feeling so good for you today, no problem. We can always stick with lateral raises here instead. But if feeling good coming all the way up, over and across, definitely stick with that. We're gonna feel this all over the shoulders. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have reverse lunges, and then we're gonna do curtsy lunges, and then we're on the ground. And then that's gonna be round 1. We got 2 more to go. 3, 2, 1. So we're stepping back 1 foot at a time, keeping that chest forward, zipping that core up. We also want to keep that orange squeeze in between the shoulder blades. It does also help if we exhale as we stand up. That's going to help us get that really good muscle engagement there. Also, I tend to really feel it in my left glute. On the right side, not so much. So sometimes I do go a little bit slower on the way up to really make sure I'm engaging those muscles. So if you're not really feeling it in the glutes or in the legs as much in the front leg, slow it down a little bit. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're gonna do curtsy lunges next. We're gonna do the same thing, except for instead of going directly behind our foot, back diagonal across. 3, 2, 1. So we're coming back, keeping that knee over the second toe, chest over the arch of our front foot, driving through that front heel, and then we have headlights on our hips. They're blinding the camera. So if we step back and our hips are out here, we're not going to get the most out of the movements. We want to turn those hips forward and then come down. So really focusing on keeping that core engaged so our hips are forward. It's what I like to call anti-rotation, but very similar to the reverse lunge. That chest is staying forward. Push the ground away. 3, 2, 1. All right, on the ground, on our backs, glute bridge marches are first. So our feet are going to be hip width apart here. 3, 2, 1. So we're tucking that pelvis, drive those hips up. Exhale, zip the core up. So we zip that core up, the knee comes up. That's what's going to help us really use the core versus using our hips. So we want to feel this more in the core here. So we're driving the opposite heel into the ground. So when my right knee comes up, my left heel is driving into the ground. So my left glute is engaged. And then same goes for the other side. So engaging the right glute when the opposite knee goes up. Exhaling really does help really engage the core muscles. So we're zipping that core up. 3, 2, 1. All right, last part of round 1, we're doing our toe touches. So again, you can do 1, 2, or 0 weight, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. So hands straight in the air. Exhale, use the core. So if you feel yourself, that was functional. I was getting hair off my toe while I'm doing it. We want to make sure we're not using our momentum. So as we come down, I want us to come all the way down to the ground, reset, use the core, come back up. So we're here, we reset. So we bring the core together and down, or if we act like we're exhaling through a straw, how everything comes down and together. That's what we want for the activation and engagement here. Great job. 3, 2, 1. And that's it for round 1. So we're going to do that 2 more times through. So we're going to stand on up again. We are starting with bent over rows. We are getting ready. 3, 2, 1. So again, tuck the pelvis, keep that core zipped up. Close the door with our butt, push those hips back. Drive the elbows up. Break that glass that's sitting on our back. Squeezing through the back of the armpit. So holding that piece of paper nice and close between your arm and your body. Exhaling as we drive the elbows up. Really important to make sure too, we're really sinking into those hips. If we're coming too far forward here, that's going to put that pressure on the low back. So we can even keep that chest slightly up higher. Keep those palms outside of the legs the whole time. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice job. We're getting ready. We have around the world raises or lateral raises if that feels better for your shoulders today. 3, 2, 1. So dumbbells stay outside of our legs the whole time. Again, cutting down on momentum. We want to move nice and slow on the way up and slow on the way down. Really getting the most out of the movement, making sure that we are using the shoulders. When we start to really swing those hips back and forth, we need to drop the weight down. So we should be nice, tall, and steady. Coming up and also back down. Keep those dumbbells outside of the legs. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, reverse lunges. And then curtsy lunges, and we're back on the ground. Getting ready here, 3, 2, 1. One thing that is important to remember too with these is that we are stepping directly behind our hip. So we're not stepping directly behind the other foot. That's going to create some stability issues here. We're not going to get the most out of it. We want to act like our legs are on train tracks. So step directly behind that hip. So we're coming down, knees coming forward, hips go back, drive through the heel big toe, little toe. If you need to, move a little slower to make sure you're feeling that engagement in the glutes. We want to feel on the glute of the leg that's in front. We'll have to play around with how far we're stepping back. For here, we're only going to feel that in the back leg. 3, 2, 1. So we have curtsy lunges next, but the same thing stands here as well. If we step too wide, we're going to feel it in the back leg. 3, 2, 1. So like I was just saying, same thing. If we step too far back and wide, when I come down like this, I only feel that in my back leg. But if we step a little bit closer, keep that weight forward, I only feel that in the front leg glute. So that's what we want to aim for here. Keeping those hips forward. I don't know why I try and do these on the mat every time because I feel like I always almost fall. We don't want that. No, this is an injury-free zone. So we're not doing that. Driving through that front heel, hips, headlights on the hips behind the camera. 3, 2, 1. And we're back on the ground. We have glute bridge and marches, and then toe touches. And then we got one more round, and then we'll cool down. 3, 2, 1. So feet are hip width apart. We're tucking the pelvis. So bring the butt to the belly button. Drive those hips up. So the minute we drive through those heels, we should have those glutes engaged. And then we're exhaling, acting like we're zipping the core up and bringing everything down and together. So we act like we're exhaling through that straw every time as we lift the knees. So an exhale and lift. So that way we are, again, not feeling it in the hips, but we're feeling it in the core. We're using the core, and then we're working on the glutes and our single leg stabilization here. We're working on lots of things this morning. 3, 2, 1. All right, last part of round 2, toe touches. So again, 1, 2, or 0 dumbbells, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. We're coming up, exhaling and back down. So same thing with the marches. We want to exhale as we lift our upper body up. Really helping us engage and use the core. Again, trying not to use momentum. If you need to pause for a second at the bottom, lay the head, neck, and shoulders all the way down before coming back up. Great job. Really use that core, practice that intent. 3, 2, 1. That is it for round 2. So we're going to stand on up for our bent over rows last time through here. And then we are going to be on the ground for our cool down. 3, 2, 1. So feet hip width apart, close the door with your butt. And we're still having that orange is going to be squeezed. I say in between the shoulder blades, but I mean at the bottom of the shoulder blades. So like right here versus up here, because otherwise you pinch up. We want to pinch down, out. And our hands are staying outside of our legs. So we're driving the elbows up. Squeeze that piece of paper in between the arm and the body. Don't let it fall. And then something else too, if you're feeling it in your forearms a lot, if you take your thumb from in front, you kind of come behind here and hook there and then row, that'll help really just use our back muscles. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, around the world raises. And then after this, we're done with upper body for the day. 3, 2, 1. So hands in front, all the way up, over and around, and back down. Exhaling as we come up. Also keeping that core engaged. So that exhale is going to keep help us keep the core engaged. So that way our back is nice and flat. So we're butt to belly button, hands slightly in front. And again, if coming all the way up, over and around is not feeling so hot, go ahead and do just a general lateral or side raise here. Still going to be working the shoulders, whichever one we're doing. Always got to focus on the shoulder health. My favorite. Great job. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with upper body. We got our 2 sets of lunges here. And then we're chilling on the ground the rest of the class. 3, 2, 1. So at the top of our space, stepping back, keeping those legs like train tracks. Again, moving nice and slow if you need to make sure that you are feeling the movement properly. We really want to focus on intent. Where are we feeling the movement? Are we using the proper muscles that we want to? So when I say we want to feel it in the front leg, especially in the glute, that's where we want to focus on feeling it. So keeping that chest directly. So right now my chest is directly over the arch of the front foot, and then I drive through that whole foot here. We're not pushing off the back foot as much as we're pushing off the front. 3, 2, 1. All right. Curtsy lunges, and then we're on the ground. My favorite. All right, 3, 2, 1. I really only like them because they are really good for that glute engagement and development, which I could always use more of. But it's also a great way. Again, the curtsy lunge really helps us focus on our balance, our single leg stability, as well as balancing out each leg. So when we do a lot of squats, it's a 2-leg movement. Sometimes we have one side that's a little bit stronger that will take over. So this allows our non-dominant side to be worked on equally, which is great for someone like me where my right leg is a little bit behind because I'm left-footed, kind of. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are on the ground. We got 2 more movements. And then we're gonna finish out on the ground for our cool down. 3, 2, 1. So butt to belly button, exhale through the straw, bring those hips up. And then 1 leg at a time, exhale through the straw, drive the opposite heel into the ground. Great job. This is a great way to work our hips and our torso. So the bottom half really of the pillar, because we're not doing too much with the shoulders. But great movement to work on our pillar and our base here. Great job. Exhaling, bringing everything down together, then pulling up. Doing great. Finish strong. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement coming up. We got toe touches. So 1, 2, or 0. Weight, whatever feels good. And we're going to get ready here. 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, coming up. And then for our cool down, we're going to do some bretzel. We're going to kind of stretch everything out. So we can, after this, 45-second work set, we'll go ahead, set our dumbbells down and get ready on our side, working on our rotation and stretching out our back and our hips. So we're going to hit everything that we've done in this class today during our cool down. We're finishing strong first, using that core, use the abs. 3, 2, 1. And that is it for today's circuit. Nice job, everyone. Go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. And then, like I said, we're gonna be on our side for some pretzel. So you can start off on whichever side you'd like. Go ahead and pick a side when you're ready. And we're gonna do our checklist here. So we're all the way on our side. We're gonna take our top leg. We're gonna come up, over and across, knee and ankle on the ground. Bottom hand on top of the knee. Our top hand is gonna grab onto the bottom foot or ankle. And we're gonna take a big deep breath to prepare. And we're gonna exhale, bringing that top shoulder towards the ground. So in that rotation, we're opening up our upper back. We're opening up our lower back, stretching out the back of the front hip and stretching out the bottom leg quad. So we're gonna take big, deep inhales through the nose and then exhaling through the mouth, sighing away the tension. Really relax the muscles, breathe into those tight areas. We're gonna go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we are finishing up our exhale, or when we're done and we're ready, we can gently release that bottom leg. And then we can go ahead and flip over onto our other side. And we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. So laying on the opposite side here, we're gonna take that top leg. We're coming up, over and across, bottom hand on top of the knee. And our top hand is gonna grab onto the bottom foot or ankle. We're gonna inhale to prepare. And we're gonna exhale, bring that top shoulder towards the ground. Breathing into the nose, into the belly. We're gonna feel the hips, feel the low back expand. And then we're exhaling, sighing away the tension, releasing any tightness we feel throughout the body. I know in this one, it can be pretty common to kind of clench some muscles because it's a little bit of an uncomfortable stretch. I want us to fully relax all of our muscles here with each exhale. Really relaxing. We're gonna go ahead and do one more deep breath here. And as we are finishing up our exhale, when we're ready, you can gently release that bottom leg. And then feel free to stay laying on the ground, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. That is going to be all the time we have for today's class. So thank you all so much for joining me. We do have the rest of our schedule today is as usual, and then same as tomorrow as well. And then everything else is up to date on SharePoint, so you can always check there. But thank you for coming. Nice job, and I'll see y'all soon.